Welcome to ATB TV. I'm Darren Dance here with Peter Morganti on this Thursday afternoon, September 24. Today our special interview guest is Archie Alexander, and we'll bring you that interview very shortly. Welcome to ATB. Pete, how are you this week?
Okay, I just about had a chair go collapse underneath me, Darren, so lockdown's doing well. The chair was surviving until lockdown. A few extra kilos floating about.
Well, oh no, not what you want to hear. You better get out here. I'll put you to work. You'll be right.
Yeah, yeah, righto. I've got
Next question.
I'm kids free. I'm kids free at the moment. They found their way to Bendigo.
13 holes. I knew you'd send them off in an express envelope the first chance you got.
Yeah, one way ticket.
I got 13 post holes I need digging if you're free next week.
Righto, no worries. What tractor do I sit on?
Yeah, a shovel and a crowbar.
Yeah. Got air conditioning?
It's air conditioned in Berrenbug at this time of year, mate.
Yeah.
Let's run through last week's runs, Pete. Where do we start?
We had a good week, Darren. We've had some horses put their head out at the right time. We'll go back to last Friday at Geelong, where eventually we only had one runner in the end, but it was My Shiny Choice. He lived up to his good trial form, ran second, got beaten by a smart one, I think, but he held the rest off okay. D. Yendall.
Yeah, cheeky little thing. He was in his post-race, Yendall, wasn't he?
Yeah.
You know, after his old tricks.
Yeah, when he gets a chance.
No, it was a terrific resumption, wasn't it, to run second there. I think the winner's probably, like you say, a Saturday City class horse might be a bit better, but first up, I thought he's going as good as ever, Matthew said. He just said to me yesterday that he's as sound as he's ever had him, and he's an 8-year-old gelding. So, he'll be something to follow. I'm not sure where he's going next, but it was a very, very good ride by Yendall and a very, very good run by the horse. So he's only going to improve from that, and I'm sure there's a nice race in him this prep.
With where his rating sits too, he potentially can win another couple of races this prep, because he was very competitive at 78 level last time in, and there's 2 wins before we get out of that level. So Matthew's got him going great.
Super.
Saturday, not much on, but Sunday we had a winner in Capriccio at Ballarat. Jumped to the front, slowly sort of run race, but she didn't need not much further than 1,200 metres, but she got the job done, which was good.
Very important for that filly to win that race. A 3-year-old filly by I'm Invincible out of a good mare we had called Long Espresso. Daniel Bowman's done a terrific job with this mare. She was only having her, filly I should say, having her second start, career start, first up, 1,200 metres. Probably a trial underdone, but, with where we are, the situation around training with COVID, it makes it very hard to get them cherry right. And I know Daniel was very, very nervous pre-race. But she got to the front and floated a bit and was waiting for him through an experience. But winning that really sets her up now for the spring. And, she's off to Melbourne now to compete in probably stakes races. And, Daniel feels she's up to it. She's got a ton of improvement in her. She looked terrific on the screen. And her action looked fantastic. So he's done a terrific job. I thought it was a good ride. I think it was Declan Bates who rode it, Pete. So yep. I thought all in all, it worked out well. She looks to be a nice filly in the making.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think Daniel's confident as she gets up in grade and the speed's a lot more genuine. Sitting off the pace is going to be her go. So she'll get that opportunity at either Caulfield. I think that's his number 1 aim, or the week after at Moonee Valley, and they're Guineas Day and Cox Plate Day, so they're big race days on the calendar.
Yeah, it's just a shame we can't be there, Pete. These are the days we want to be there.
You get a nice one like that and you're going to have to watch it from the lounge room. It's a bit of a kick in the bum, but anyway, it's just good to have one that potentially you can go there and, get some sort of black type.
Definitely going to be a player in the spring for the team.
Yep. Following race, we had Street Baby kick off her prep. Similarly underdone with trials, but a little bit more on purpose because Daniel's a little bit concerned with just her, not so much her condition, but she hasn't been the best either, and she's a bit finicky. I thought her run was good, and especially her last 100 metres. The winners won easy, but she was only about 1.5 lengths off the second horse, finishing in 7th spot, I think it was.
Yeah, well, she's a miler. Yeah, I was look on the corner. She was back in the second half, and she made good solid ground in the straight. The winner got the split on the rail and kicked away. I think it won by 4 or 5 lengths, and then they were kind of bunched, and she was right on their heels, hitting the line. So I think most of the owners were pleased with that return, and I think they all know that she'll be best third up. As you say, she went in underdone. I think she might have only had the one trial. She's a filly that is a little bit of a worrier, a little bit of a stressy sort of filly. Doesn't really hold a condition. I think every run looks like she's had 2. So Daniel's got his work cut out feeding her and keeping the weight on her and trying to keep her fit. But that's why he gets paid the big bucks, Pete. But I thought her run was quite good.
The best news after was she ate the bin out when she got home, so the penny might be starting to drop with her a little bit. So no, she should be. I think out to 13 or 1400 next start, she's not going to be far away.
Yep.
Monday, we went to Ararat with Sunbird. There was a sort of a revised decision to run. Obviously, she drew wide, but there was a few scratchings and. Look, it didn't work. It didn't really go to plan. She was a long way back. I just thought they might have been a little bit more positive with her, but she had nothing cut her into the race. She did a good job to probably run 5th in the end.
Strange tactics. We've been going to Ararat for at least 20 years, and we always know that it suits on speed.
Yeah.
I don't know where she came out at 12 or 12 or 11 or 11 or something like that, and she was 5 wide and gone back, and she had to come right round him. You can see she was going to get pushed off the track on the corner, and she was probably out 6, 7, 8 wide off the fence. And I thought, oh well, she'll finish in the last 3 here. But to her credit, she did find the line and run into 5th, solidly beaten but not flogged. And I thought her run was quite good, all things considered. Yeah, so that was Monday. I picked her up yesterday, and she's having a spell. She was in work for a long time, and she started off at Mick Price's Caulfield stables, where she was pulling and reefing in her races and had a head up. And halfway through the prep, we kind of got it down to the Warrnambool stable of Matthew Williams, is where he trains for Mick Price, and I think that was the making of that filly. She's certainly a different sort of horse now. She's learned how to race, she's learned how to compete, she's learned how to settle, and even putting her on the truck yesterday, which was Wednesday, where she'd done nothing for 2 days. Normally she'd be a handful, Pete. She'd be a real handful, but she was good as gold yesterday. And there were tears down there, Pete, with the young girl saying, "Sonny's going home. I hope she's coming back." And I said, "Of course she's coming back." I said, "Of course she's coming back." In fact, we're going to ask the owners whether they are happy for Matthew Williams to train her going forward. But we'll get to that next week. But, yeah, there were tears of joy that she might be coming back.
Look, I'm not an owner, but could advise it'd be a no-brainer. I mean, Matthew's done a great job with her, and, that's a discussion for the owners. But I think the whole setup down there with Matthews, he's a calmer sort of trainer too, and he's got the beach environment and the whole lot. And look, she's a hardy little thing. She's done some miles on the road, and, she's coped with it all. So it might be the making of her. And look, she's got not a superstar, but she can win races placed well in the bush.
I'm really think she fits that profile of being out in the paddock during the day and just that calm country lifestyle. And I think she's a filly or a mare. She could win a few next time in. I could see her around over Warrnambool over the summer months with a bit of...
Yeah, no, I agree. And look, I think with fillies and mares, sometimes you get those 64 races, you just don't know if they improve 2 or 3 lengths. You know, as you can sometimes get to a midweek. If you're going to be competitive at Warrnambool, it's on a midweek level during the carnival anyway. So, but, you know, at least she's capable of winning another 2 or 3 races for sure.
Yeah.
Wednesday at headquarters, midweek at Flemington. We had 2 runners, both in the one race. And we had Gamay, who obviously we spoke to Archie about. She ran a slashing second. And Connery in the same race was about 5.8 lengths back. And for him, it was certainly more than a pass mark.
Yeah, well, let's start with Connery. He's been running on rain-affected tracks and he's had, you know, issues with his feet, particularly a couple of foot abscesses, which are very frustrating. You just can't work them when they've got a foot abscess. When a horse has got a foot abscess, it's basically lame, pretty much hard, not even weight bearing. So if it's in the heel, they stand on their tiptoe. If it's in the tiptoe, they stand on their heel. And when you first see them walk out of the box with an abscess, you think, oh, it's broken its leg. That's what it looks like if you haven't seen one. So he had one in one foot and he got over that and he got one in the other foot. So he missed a lot of work, which may have not have been a bad thing considering the weather and the state of the tracks we've had. But we got him back onto a good 3 yesterday. He raced handy enough with no speed. And I thought he did a good job to finish where he did against the class of the opposition. We're talking about a Fair to Remember winning the race, who's Group 1 placed. We're talking about our other horse, which we'll come to, Gamay, who's won an ethereal group race and is probably a Group 1 filly potentially. For him to run there and get beat 6 lengths against that, you know, in the off-season, through the winter months, in the country, and in his 0 to 78, he'd be in the top 3 normally. He just ran into a cracking field at that level because that's the time of year we're in now. We're in the spring. These horses are all stepping back 1 or 2 grades just to get their fitness and get their ratings up so they can participate in the spring. So I thought he ran a good race. He's going to a suitable race at Hamilton. I think it's a similar sort of race. It'll be 10 lengths inferior.
Yeah.
And I think if he wins that, that qualifies him for some sort of country race that they run at Flemington over the carnival.
Yep. No, I think they it's like a final series, and I think they're on Oaks Day or one of the days. But yeah, his form's going to look good. He's going to have, I'll say 11th, but beaten 5.8 behind 2 group horses running at Hamilton. So he couldn't help but be competitive in a race like that.
Wouldn't surprise me if he started favourite.
No, that's right. That's it.
And Gamay, second up after her Oaks run last year. She's a quality mare. She looks to have come back really well. I thought her first up run was good. Yesterday, she gave the winner 4 kilos. Second up over a mile, not her go. She'll be better 3rd and 4th up. But for her to look the winner 20, 30 metres out, she's come back in terrific order. And Archie and the team have done a great job with her. And she's going to be a major player against the mares. If she can hold that form, I think you'll see her and a Fair to Remember going head-to-head a couple of times if they follow a similar path. And all being well, they could meet at Flemington in a Group 1 race in the Matriarch Stakes. But at this stage, there's probably 190,000 mares going to that race, and we're just one of them. So
I think we got one of the biggest players.
She's the real deal.
Yeah, no, I agree. So from that lot, we had a winner a couple of seconds, and one into the paddock, and a couple others while outside the place getters in Connor and Street Baby. They probably go to their next races and going to be competitive.
We're not sacking in this week.
No, we've had a good week from that point of view. Righto, upcoming runners. Got the alarm clock set. 12:55. Unlikely. 12:55 Friday morning. We go to I don't know how you pronounce it. Listowel, Listowel, a 2,400 metre race with Melburnian, ridden by Anne McCullum.
Yeah, so obviously this mare runs to overnight in Ireland. She's had a few issues since she found the best form. So she is entered for the November Tattersall sale, Pete, so that's where she's heading. We're just trying to get her form reversed so we can get something for her. So at this stage, a trainer spoke to me early this morning to say he's happy with her and he expects her to run a bold race. I think over there she's $12. Over here, what'd you say? She's $25?
23.7 fixed for the place, so we're getting overs.
Well, based on what Tony Martin said, she's probably worth having something each way, but he's expecting a bold race, and we're trying to get a return to form before she goes through the sales, not next month, but early November.
Yep. Oh, well, good viewing for the owners at 5 to 1 Eastern Standard Time tomorrow morning. Move on to Saturday. Mr. Moneybags, second up at Caulfield. I think it's about race true. It's a benchmark 78. Only a couple of kilos off my riding weight, carrying 62. 1,400, I think it was 1,000 first up. So 1,400 will suit him. Barrier 3, Jai McNeil. You'd expect him to be hitting the line pretty hard over the last 200.
Well, I thought his first up run, which was probably through frustration, had to go to 1,000 just to get on a decent surface. I thought it was terrific the way he hit the line there. This will be much more suitable. Talking to Robbie Griffiths today, he said the horse was pulling the staff around the yard and carrying on like a unbroken 2-year-old. So they feel he's going as good as he's ever gone, and they feel that he's in for a very good preparation. So I think in a 678, he should be right there. I know he's carrying a bit of weight, but look, if he can run top 5 there, second up, he'll be cherry ripe. Just a bit awkward with the program now. This 78 range, very hard to find races, 78s and 84s just at the minute over the distance that he needs to get to, but it's all part of a plan going forward. And I think you'll see he'll run a nice race. Could sneak a place if he has a bit of luck. And Jai McNeil's probably one of the most prolific riders of winners in Melbourne just at the minute.
Yeah, well, he had a great season last season, Jai, and he's won on the horse, so he knows him well and probably ridden him as many times, more than anyone else. I'm trying to say. I'm just looking at the odds for Saturday to see what price he is.
$26, please.
Well, there you go. That's probably overs. $7 a place in a field of 15 or 16, whatever it is, might even be less. So, yeah, he'll be getting home as good as anyone anyway, whether, it all depends. The tempo of the race with these races over 1,400, they go slow where you got no hope if you're out the back. But from gate 3, you wouldn't have thought he'd be too far off midfield.
Should be midfield or better, I would have thought.
Yep. Righto, Sunday, potentially, maybe you have spoke to Robbie, but just to wait and see with collectible. 1,500 metre benchmark 70 with the wizard W Pike engaged to ride if she goes around.
Yeah, he's just a little bit undecided. Once again, just struggling to get the right race at the right time for her. But she ran well the other day. It was almost a run of a horse you'd say, back me next start. Robbie's just disappointed it's not 1,600. He just feels that she's a 1,600, 1,800 metre horse. She doesn't quite get the 2,000 unless it's fast run. But at least at Mornington, he said they go along a bit. But, you got to be, if you're not in the first 4 on the corner, you can't normally win at Mornington. So that's the big negative. But he feels she's going as good as she was as a 3-year-old, and we don't lose any points with W Pike on, so he'll ride his own race, and I think she's once again probably an each way chance.
Yeah, so Pike's the kind of rider that suits it. Like at Mornington, you almost got to cheat your way through a race there. If you're a back marker, you can't come around them wide unless there's huge pace on. I know how many times I see at Perth where Pike and he's waiting for a run and pushing up in between them. Probably suits her. Probably suits the way she races. Bendigo, he had to ride for a little bit of luck and almost found it and almost won it. So the combination looks good, but we'll just see what Robbie decides.
She's going to win one of these races, you know. It's going to happen. She's going to win one of these, and she's going to jump up at some ridiculous price. So there's no doubting her ability. She just needs everything to go right. So I don't know. What are we talking about, Pete? 30 mils of rain, 50 mils of rain Friday. So the track, I don't know. Wouldn't want to be a heavy 8 or worse, or I wouldn't be running her.
No, exactly. I agree. Maui Monday, Swan Hill Tuesday. We can put our feet up there. Wednesday, we look forward to Crackerjack Prince, second up. We all know the story behind his first up run. We all know the conversation from Archie that, you know, he's got good raps on the horse. All that said, over a mile, depending whether we run into a Group 1 horse like Russian Camelot 12 months out, he should be going close at Ballarat.
Well, what am I trying to say, Pete? Everything says that he'll run well. His first up run was probably amazing. The form's been vindicated from yesterday's Derby trial where the winner finished behind him in that race and it dominated.
Yeah.
So, look, he said the horse is beautiful. He's eaten up. His work's been outstanding. He hasn't missed a beat. He was a little bit jarred up after that run, but he said normally that's what happens with young horses. He's going into that race next Wednesday pretty confident that he'll run well. It's at Ballarat. It's a city race at Ballarat. So he's on his home track. The surface will be perfect. A lot of rain on Friday. By Wednesday, it'll be, I think, early in the week next week, it's going to be low 20s down here. So I think it's all looking pretty positive. Look, on his form, on his debut, we think we've got a nice horse. We think he's this is like, I think Simon Morris summed it up the other day with his horse at Ballarat. This is a fork in the road. If he wins Wednesday, he's definitely 100% on a Derby path. If he gets beat on Wednesday, he's probably back in the ruck and we have to reassess what we're doing. So it's a crucial race. We'll probably be more nervous about this maiden on Wednesday than we will be with South Pacific in the Bark Cummings the following Saturday. So because it's so important to this horse, you know, if he can go there and win, he's off to the Derby. If he gets beat, well, he's just another horse. So no pressure at all. We're not feeling the pressure. But he's by our stand, Crackerjack King. His mum, I think, might be a 3/4 to the mother of Surprise Baby. So he's very well bred. Yep. And Crackerjack Prince had a double. Crackerjack King had a double yesterday in Adelaide. He had that good winner last Sunday at Ballarat in Shadow Prey. He's got a 3-year-old crop, Peter, 4 named horses, and 2 of them are nominated for the Derby. So he's a stallion that's certainly going well and it's got a lot of upside. So, yeah, I think Crackerjack Prince, I'll be very nervous Wednesday.
Yeah, no, I look forward to it at the same time because all this breeding and all this hoping and all this waiting and dreaming, as Archie said, you just hope that one day you can get one that can measure up.
Yep. Well, he's an exciting young horse and we'll certainly look forward to that. Speaking of exciting young horses, Pete, I think that's all the runs we got notified. Yep. Is that right?
That's before? It. Yep.
So from the foaling front, they tell me we'll have 2 foals tonight, Pete. I think in the maternity ward, I was just looking for the sheet, but in the maternity ward, there's quite a few due. I might just rattle off some names. Flying Hula's probably one of the mares that could foal tonight. We're expecting So You Think. She's our stars, only a couple of days off. We're expecting a Rich Enough. Top Classics due on Monday with Sioux Nation, Fox Largo with a Tornado, and Wanted Diva with a Written By. Now, any one of those 5 mares could foal tonight. So
watch out.
If you get a call out on maternity ward, look out. Leave your phone on, right?
My phone goes off at 8. I had the pleasure to come out and see some of the foals on must have been Tuesday, where I seen George, Elsie, and Beauty. All the owners will know the nicknames there, but George is a little Dandino colt out of Savage Babe, and we had the Trapeze Artist, which I think is Elsie, cracked the codes, first little filly foal, and Tennessee Gold's, there you got me, Street Boss filly.
Street Boss? Yeah, it's very nice. You might have a bit of footage there you can throw up.
I will. I'll dangle a bit out at the end, but yeah, lovely fillies and all had their little coats on. George was the second foal born. He was 3 weeks old. The other only a couple of weeks old, but he was a cheeky little bugger. And look, it's just good to see him up and about. And there was a little bit of sunshine about, and they were enjoying it.
Righto. Now, before we go to Archie's interview, we want to talk about this spring tipping comp.
Yep. Refined tipping comp, Darren.
We're going to keep it simple, Pete.
Keep it simple for the corrector.
Yes.
So straightforward. It'll be, I think we worked out about 7 weeks. It'll be about 10 race days. 10 race days. Starting this week at Caulfield, what we're going to do is if there's whatever the Group 1 race is, that'll be the race that we're looking at. If there's multiple on the day, we'll pick one out. All you need to do is make one selection from that race that we identify. You send that tip in. If the name of that horse is Surprise Baby or if it's Russian Camelot, you just send that one name in to me. I'll log it in alphabetical order to all the people who enter on the first day. You can't enter after the first week. So everyone that comes in on the first week, that's it. If you miss a week, you're out. If you get a scratching, too bad, you don't get no points. It's a cumulative thing. So what are we working on? 3, 2, 1, Darren, I think we decided.
3, 2, 1.
And the points at the end of the 10 weeks or 7 weeks, 10 days or whatever, we'll have a first, second and third prizes.
And I guess I was just looking at, I guess this week's race will be the Underwood Stakes.
Yeah. Is that Russian Camelot's race?
$1.95.
So anyway, here's your chance. You might be the only leader if you tip against it and get it right.
Yep.
But anyway, that's what we'll be.
So it's one race per Saturday.
Yep.
It's a Group 1 race per Saturday. One selection. Emailed to you by 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock?
Midday, I think. It's not going to be too
midday.
much. Yeah. Yep.
Horse's name only.
Yep.
Pretty simple.
Keep it simple, stupid, they say. The kiss analogy, sorry.
And we'll have a prize at the end for the top 3.
Yep. Sounds good. And
so that'll kick off Saturday.
I'll obviously get an email out to all our owners for asking them to join in on the little bit of spring fun.
All right. Well, that's about all I've got, Pete, for this week.
Yep.
We might just hand over to this interview with Archie Alexander.
Yep.
And somewhere in there, there's a David Eustace tip.
I'll pop that up right at the end.
Okay, well, he needs to redeem, but he's very confident this week. Very confident.
He is. So we'll see what happens.
All right, until next week, I'm Darren Dance with Pete Morganti. Welcome to the Spring Carnival. And here's Archie Alexander.
See you guys.
And this week's special guest is one of the young guns from Ballarat, Archie Alexander. Welcome, Archie.
Hi, Darren. Hi, Pete. Hi, everyone. Good to be here.
Well, Archie, I'll kick off. The journey to Ballarat, I'll try and put it into a little nutshell. Obviously from a family with racing background, and I think the first journey into it was to France, where from there, Cricket Head and Alec Head, and then there was a journey to the US, then back closer to home with Mark Johnson, then with Aidan O'Brien. Then Lloyd Williams was on the phone and you're out to Australia. I think I'm getting all this right. And from there, I think your last, you with Faulkner and Dan Dino, the Caulfield Cup. Not long after that, you branched out into training, and here we are now at Ballarat, and a great grounding.
Yeah, exactly. Look, you were spot on the whole way, apart from the last and the second last step was the wrong way round. But I'm not having a go. I'm just saying that the reason I'm probably in Australia is because the last step was at Lloyd's. So I did Aidan O'Brien's and then Lloyd's, and it was just being at Lloyd's. I saw Victorian racing, and I saw I probably didn't see all the tracks, but I saw the better tracks, and I saw Victoria, and I really liked it. And I think having a spring carnival, when you get to the Caulfield Cup day and you're there and you get that buzz, and I know you don't start off thinking you're going to win a Caulfield Cup, but just to be in and amongst it, that you think this is where I want to be. And then, looking at the prize money, I was always looking at sort of country maidens versus country maidens in England, and they're probably double or triple the money. And actually, it was, a few people commented on how good the setup in Ballarat was, and that's sort of what got me here and where I went, and that's sort of five and a half years ago.
Archie, your stables at Ballarat, they're right on the course there. It's a credit to you, the amount of work you've done, and a credit to your bank manager for giving you so much money to spend. But how many horses do you actually have in work now, and how many people would you employ on the books?
So we've probably got about 60 to 65 here at Ballarat working every day, and staff, I think it's about 22. It kind of goes up or down slightly, but yeah, I think about 22. That's including a full-time handyman, maintenance man, which at the time we thought, when we employed him, we didn't really need it. But as you say, we've built, and we've got paddocks, a treadmill, swimming pool, walkers, and there's always a walker that's breaking, a treadmill that needs a new part replacing or something like that, lawns that need doing, trucks and floats that need washing and cleaning and filling up for the races. So there's a full-time maintenance man, a racing manager in Jeremy Rogers, Claire, who does the books, and then obviously you're looking at the bulk of that is actual horse people. So there's about 18 people split up between mornings, afternoons, weekends, and there you've got your riders. Ground staff, obviously we have farriers and vets coming in, they're not on the books with us, but it's a big operation. Some mornings you just walk around and there's when I say a big operation, a lot of moving parts. We'll have the chiropractor looking at one horse in the next area, and they're all working. And for anyone that says horses aren't well looked after, sometimes you come here, one's getting their feet done, one's getting their back done, and one's getting their teeth done. So they're like our horses, when you think about it, go to the dentist 4 times a year. I'm sure we don't go to the dentist 4 times a year. So there you go. They get better looked after than us, and that's the way we want it.
You settled in Ballarat, obviously growing up in England. What was it that drew you specifically to Ballarat, and what do you think the strengths of your training on that Ballarat track are?
Well, I think you probably go somewhere where you think you as a person and the way you think is going to gel really well. And I'd never actually worked on a track, as in like I worked on a track, but I haven't had a lot of experience as in somewhere like that. But here, I really like the feel of Ballarat, and I knew I could, put a bit of the European touch into things I wanted to do. also the place that a lot of owners watching have probably been to, and you guys have been to. I saw it had room to grow, and we've put in new boxes, yards, and we've got a lot of options. So I really liked everything it had to offer. And our strengths probably is the fact that we can do a lot of different things. Here, there's never a day a horse does the same thing twice. So, you might go on the flat sand track one day, you might go on the synthetic hill the next, and the next day you might be on the treadmill, the next day you might go to the trials, the next day you might be back on the sand. So in 7 days, they probably do nearly 7 different things. We mix it up with them. And also, the biggest thing is the hill. You're going in a straight line, 1,400 meters, no bending or twisting, knees and fetlocks. You're just going in a straight line at a nice pace with an uphill, which anyone will tell you if you run a mile on a flat or a mile up a hill, you're going to be fitter and stronger by running up the hill. So that's why we like the hill track, but at the same time, there's other options. We don't just use the hill. But I think it's also a lot to do with our property. We've got paddocks. One of your horses, Madam Mischief, she came back from the beach today. We use a beach environment a little bit for the horses, and I thought last prep she wasn't settled in a certain environment in the yard, so this time I've moved her into different boxes, and if she's not happy there, we'll move her into a paddock. We've probably got 5 different options for your horse. Some places just have 100 boxes in a barn and that's it. Well, if you don't like a barn, you're stuffed. So we've got a lot of different options for our horses, and that's what I think is a strength of the place.
Peter?
Arch, just winding back, obviously, as you start, you start off with a group of horses, and then you hope that a nice one comes along to kick along the stable. And I think I'd be fair in saying that Lord Fandango at his time was a really good fillip for the stable, and sort of put you out in the media limelight and helped introduce new owners.
Yeah, definitely. I would say it would be unfair if I missed one well before that. A horse called Renew came along, and he won the Sandown Cup. But yeah, you're right in your sort of comment that probably Renew led to Lord Fandango, and Lord Fandango led to a lot more, and it's just a snowball effect. But yeah, like Renew was a nice horse. He was a listed winner. He was, I think he ran 3rd behind Tayu in the Adelaide Cup behind you guys. I think you were 2nd to Tamby, weren't you?
That's right, yeah.
And we were 3rd. And so he was a really good horse, did a lot for me. But yeah, the first proper serious horse was Lord Fandango, won a Herbert Power, won a Benella Cup, 4th in a Caulfield Cup, beaten, I think, 1.3 lengths in a Caulfield Cup. So huge effort. And then I think it doesn't necessarily mean you're a better trainer than you were the year before, or you're a better trainer than the year after, but it just gives potential clients like, you guys at the time, I think had probably just jumped on board and were good enough to send me Connery, and we had maybe 1 or 2, but it just gives other clients that confidence that, well, if my trainer's just had a 4th in a Caulfield Cup, he's obviously doing something right. He's obviously got a good team around him. He's good enough for my yearling, or, the horse I've just bought. So that's what you need. And it's no different to any business. If you want your car serviced, you go to a mechanic that's got really good reviews. You don't pick a random mechanic in the middle of nowhere and say, I'll give this guy a go. Like, it just doesn't happen. So you need to, I always say, you just need to be really lucky. And I believe I was lucky in Renew, that led to Lord Fandango, and then led to a few others. And then once you get a better team of horses around you, your results obviously improve, because you can't do it without the horses. We're not magicians. So, we need good owners. And look, I always say, if a bad horse is with me, goes to Chris or Anthony Friedman, if it's a bad horse, there's not much you can do. You can change trainers, change environments, But if you physically can't run quickly, it doesn't matter who's got you. You know, you might improve a length or two, but on the whole, the good ones are good and the bad ones are bad. And you as owners hope you're getting the good ones, and hopefully they come my way and not to, you know, the man next door or the man down the road.
Archie, I agree totally. I think Peter and I went through a process a couple of years ago where we relocated quite a few horses. And Peter, I think those stats on those relocated horses were, you know, there might have been 20 horses moved over a period of time for accrued to about 1 win and 4 placings, and was just total waste of time for the owners.
It was ridiculous. It was 2.5% win and about 10% place. And every time an owner mentioned it, you felt like just throwing that stat sheet up and saying, well, there you go, you know.
Exactly what Archie's saying, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
I might just skip down because I'm conscious of the time, but yesterday at Flemington, we had the match race between Connery and Gamay, Archie. Obviously, Gamay was, well, she looked the winner 30 metres out, but got smashed by a big one late. And Connery was probably ran up to his level.
Yeah, I think so. When you watch the race briefly, you think, oh, Connery's run badly and Gammay's run great. Whereas I think probably Connery hasn't run badly at all. He hasn't run for a long time. Anyone in the horse knows he had 2 foot abscesses, sort of one after the other. So he's missed time. He's better on a soft. Wasn't quite firm. It was a good 4 yesterday, firm enough for him. And I don't know what the official margins were. I think it maybe 6 lengths. He's been beaten 6 lengths by Gamay, who's won an Ethereal, which is 5th in an Oaks, Group 1. And Dan O'Sullivan's mare that's Group 1 placed. She's a really nice mare. So, you know, we've been beaten, 6 lengths by those horses. We haven't run for a long time. Those other 2 horses only ran 2 weeks ago. So, wasn't a bad run. We wanted to see a bit of spark, and I think there was definitely enough spark there. So we've actually found quite a nice race for him at Hamilton. There's one of those country series, country qualifying races. Hamilton, as we know, tends to get a bit of rain. A mile there. He's a horse who's always been hard to place. You know, we've always been putting him in the deep end because he's done so well over the last 2 or 3 years. He's earned that place and that benchmark that we can't escape. So he might go to Hamilton, and I think we're all very realistic about him. He's given us a great amount of fun. He's won at Warrnambool. He's won in town multiple times. So if he can run really well at Hamilton, we'll just keep going along with him. But if he doesn't, we might regroup, and maybe it's time for the retirement paddock. But he's from yesterday didn't show that he's ready to retire. And like you said, Gamay was really good. I was like you, 30 to go. I was nearly in the winner's bar. I was thought we were home and hosed, and Dan's mare was just too good. But don't forget, she had 4 kilos less than us, she's a really good mare. They were both good mares, but more importantly for our horse, she's coming back from knee surgery, which human or equine, it's really hard to come back from knee surgery, and she's in great form. Declan actually thought she was feeling as good, if not better, than last prep. So that's great. And second up to see her ping the way she did over a mile. Really big run, and she's definitely on target for a nice race. So she'll go to Caulfield in 3 weeks' time. There's a 2,000 metre benchmark 78 there. If she ran well there, then she'll press on to the matriarch on Cup Week, and that'll be her grand final. And then if she could run well there, she'll probably be off to the paddock for a bit of a break.
Peter, I might just get to run through our other horses quickly with Archie.
Good opportunity now just to jump into a couple of the others. Obviously, we've got Write Your Name back in. Just give us 15 or 20 seconds on all those horses, starting with him.
No, really good. Write Your Name. He's back. He had a gallop this week. Very happy with him. He's probably about 2 weeks away from a jump out, 2-3 weeks away.
Madam Mischief, obviously just down the beach at the moment, I think.
Yeah, literally half an hour off the track. She's on the beach, looks really well. She's never going to be that big, heavy type, but she's definitely put on, you know, a little bit of condition. I think more for her, it's just a mental break, really, her getting away from our environment. And she might go to Kyneton over 1,200 meters in the next few weeks, 10 days from now, actually.
Yep, Crackerjack Prince. Obviously, we all seen the first up run at Geelong. All intentions are to run next Wednesday at Ballarat.
Yeah, really happy and excited. You can't read maybe too much into the form, but it was good, as Darren was saying, that the horse that won the Derby trial was well behind him when they ran at Geelong. So that's great form for us. Yeah, looking forward to him next week, and hopefully he should run well.
Just 2 or 3 unraced. We've got Quick and Dandy, the Dandino.
Yep. I hear from Liz Dance that she's gone to pre-trainers today. Is that right? I think.
Yep.
I think Liz was saying that. So that's good. Bit of pre-training, and then we'll see her in a few weeks.
You've got Supreme Thunder there, the Knight of Thunder.
Yeah, really, really nice horse. Just lovely nature. He's showing a good bit of ability. He had a gallop on Tuesday morning as well. And he'll have a trial, all being well, on Monday here at the synthetic.
There's a bit of ownership connection with the Piero Tacareed. I think that's how you say the dam's name.
Yep, really happy with her. She's just arrived this week back from Darren's. Looks amazing. You wouldn't find a 2-year-old with as much strength as her. I don't know what Darren thinks, but she's an absolute bull. She looks like a colt. We're all a bit soft on Piero. We love Piero because of Game and Connery, and we've had a lot of luck there. And she's got that bit of grunt that all the Pieros have, in a good way. They're a bit aggressive and a bit bolshy, and they've got that will to win.
I think that covers them all.
Sorry?
Yeah. Archie, spring. What's happening in the spring for the Archie Alexander, apart from Gamay and maybe Crackerjack Prince? I know you've got Young Rascal that you pried away with a lot of money from overseas with OTI. Have you got a couple there for the owners that just want to take a little bit of notice? Something you've got there that you think might play a part in the spring?
Tell you what, I'll cheat. I'll get my list of horses here.
There's one yesterday went pretty good.
What's a question without notice?
No, it's all right. Well, I just don't want to. I know, you know, I've got.
Well, tell us about Young Rascal. You picked him up.
So he's it'd be fair to say he's probably been hasn't been the ideal start, but that's racing, isn't it? You don't buy them, turn the keys, and off you go. You've got to work them out. And sometimes the older horses, and you'll be able to agree with this, when you get them from overseas, they're actually more complicated than a yearling, because a yearling, you get them broken in by who you want, and you start their career and you make them into what you want to. When they're overseas horses, the connections in England, and I'm not saying they were wrong at all, they said this horse needs to be ridden on pace, which they're probably right, in England. But now in Australia, we're racing on good threes, different tempo, different weights, different jockeys, different tracks, and all of a sudden their plan and their advice and their theories aren't quite right. And they'll say that as well. That's not me, you know, behind their back. So now we're going to have to try and, you know, modify that. And we're going to go to the Bart Cummings and ride him a bit quietly, which is something in England they didn't do. They normally had him on speed. So we're going to have to, you know, experiment and see. But he's definitely got the engine, and he's fitting well. He's sound. He's healthy. He's happy. So I think it's just a case of getting him right and adapting to his new environment.
I think he's a pretty smart animal, and I think there must be about 465 horses going to the Bart Cummings. Everyone we talk to, they're sending at least 6. So it must be a big field there, Peter.
Yeah, it sounds like it, Darren. Might be emergency with our runners.
We've got 2, but at least we don't have Yogi to contend with. Yogi normally turned up in every staying race in the Southern Hemisphere, so at least Yogi's not in there.
Well, we knew where he'd be, didn't we, in the... run.
Or follow, you asked before. A horse I really like later on in the years, a horse called Lamu. I think if you follow her over a mile, and we've got a nice horse called Daunting Magic. He's a Magnus. He'll be running soon. He's a nice horse. I think should be winning before long. Maxaway, he won his maiden well. He'll keep on improving. Mosh Music is a really nice mare who was third in the JRA Cup last year. She won, I think, 5 in a prep 12 months ago. Really nice mare. She's coming back from a setback. New addition to the team is Night's Watch. He was only beaten 4 lengths in a Group 1 in the autumn in Sydney. He's got a bit of history, a few quirks. He's not the most straightforward horse, but he's a nice horse to get. Horse called Papalino. He's arrived from France. He's a listed winner, group place. He's owned by some Ballarat connections, Wayne Peltram and Tim Porter, good supporters of the stable. So that's their horse. And nice Toronado called Reciprocation. He's a nice boy. And yeah, that's a few of them anyway. I'll try not to go through them all, but yeah, a very exciting time, and we had a very, very quiet June, July, August. Anyone that follows the stable, we were literally going a week, and we might have a runner a week. We were very quiet, and I said to a few people, when you're normally quiet for a few months and you've got horses, we had the horses. It wasn't that we didn't have the horse, we just weren't running. We knew we were going to have a really good August, September, October, and we've started off with a good August. I think we had 7 winners in August, which is the best we'd ever done in a month, in the first month. And I think 3 winners in the last 4 or 5 days. So stables, going along nicely, but we've just got to keep it going for the next 10.5 months.
You must get huge satisfaction out of yesterday with, is it Shallow? Pronunciation of horses.
Everyone has a different pronunciation, so just say what you want. We all know. We all know who it is. Yeah, I would say I've had bigger winners and stuff like that, but yesterday was definitely the most satisfying. Any owner and everyone watching will probably be an owner. Any owner, trainer, jockey, when you have a horse that's good and you can't get it to the races, there's nothing worse than that. It's just like having that nice car and you can't drive it. What's the point? If you've got a bad horse, you've got a bad horse. You're not losing. No owner's losing too much sleep over their bad horse. When you've got that good horse that's always in the paddock and always injured, there's nothing worse. And she's just, through no one's fault, just pure bad luck. We just had a few setbacks, and it just cost us, a year, and even more than by the time in racing, we always say it's a year, but by the time you do pre-training and get them ready, it creeps on. And I think it was 18 months since our last win, and to win like that. And if you had to write the Charlotte book of issues, and 2 weeks ago we went to Bendigo, we had a good chance, reared over in the barriers, was a late stretching. So that was the next, issue. Then we got to the races, that was the first tick. Got her in the barriers, the next tick. Got her out the barriers, she was 4 lengths slow, but we were, you take what you can get. 4 lengths slow, don't worry, we're out of the barriers, that's fine, at least we're going to finish. And then just settled in a nice rhythm, and I was thinking, look, we'll run home and run a good 4th or 5th. And I think her second last furlong was 10.9, which is incredible first up. Put a 10.9 in, and it was all over on the line. And like I said, just to get your heart racing, because she doesn't do that enough. She gets into a dead heat, photo finish, and picture comes up, and we've won. So, it really was 18 months of stress and pain, and everything rolled into one, and very, very satisfying. It was like winning a group race.
Excellent. You got any more, Darren?
Look, I'll just ask I think you want to ask him a little bit about the Alexander Managing Director, but I'll leave that to you. The boss of the stable. We'll come back to her, but I just wanted to find out, Archie. I always like to find out from trainers when you think about being a trainer and training horses. What's the race for you? What's the one that you want to have that trophy on the mantelpiece before you retire? What is that race?
5 or 6 years ago, before I really was in Australia and had anything to do with it, it wouldn't have been the Melbourne Cup, but now it's the Melbourne Cup. There's not a day that goes by that you think of the Melbourne Cup. It's just, some people would say the Golden Slipper or the Cox Plate. There's not a race like the Melbourne Cup. People, well, for a start, you can tell non-racing people put a horse on a plane from Ireland to Melbourne to run around a field over 2 miles to win a cup. People wouldn't believe you. People come from, America, Japan, all over the world to watch it, have a runner in it, try and win it. It's the best thing. And if you're an Australian and you don't want to win the Melbourne Cup, there's something wrong with you, because that's the one we want to win. And don't get me wrong, a Cox Plate, a Caulfield Cup, they would all be, up there. But I think a Melbourne Cup is the one.
Are you likely to have a runner this year?
As you know, in racing, it's a funny thing. You can have them one day and not the next. But we've got probably two. Well, we've got 3 in the race, but 2 more like, say, Young Rascal would be a chance to get in, and also he's very high up the order, so he could go there. Obviously, you need to be running well beforehand. We need to sort of improve his form and luck a bit. He's one, and the other one is Hackey. He goes to the Bart Cummings. He'd need to win the Bart Cummings to get in. And Gaelic Chieftain, he's in the mix as well, but he's probably more, we're realistic about him. He might not be quite good enough for a Melbourne Cup, but he's a very good horse. He's won over $1 million, and he might be aimed at something like the Herbert Power and then a Queen Elizabeth or a Zipping Classic or something like that.
Well, I guess we've just got to win the Derby with Crackerjack Prince, qualify him next year for the Cup, and turn up in 2021 when we can probably all go. Well,
that's it. So we'll just give him a quiet year this year and make sure he's spot on for next year. You've got a dream, and I'm definitely, people may think I'm mad, but I'm a big believer. Every time I look at every horse, you always have that 10% in the back of your mind. You always dream, when you look at, a nice staying horse, you think, oh, he could be my Derby horse, or he could be a Melbourne Cup horse, or Oaks filly. Because as I always say, if you don't dream, we get out of bed at 3:30 in the morning, 365 days a year. And if you go out and think all your horses are going to be running in benchmark 58s an hour on a Monday, then you would go back to bed, wouldn't you? I look at these horses, and you just, you look at 1,000 horses, you might be right with one of them. You might be wrong with 999, but every horse you look at, you half think, this could be my Derby horse, or this could be the Guineas horse. And one day it'll happen.
What sort of horse do you need to buy to win a Melbourne Cup? I haven't found the answer yet.
The lucky one. No, we've done it together. We've always sort of, looked at those European horses together. I've got 3 or 4 owners that look at European horses all the time. I always say to agents, the first one, I think you need a horse that likes quick ground. There's no point getting a European horse down here. And let's be honest, most of the time, I think you do need a European horse to win a Melbourne Cup, don't you? I know Prince of Penzance has done it. Hopefully Crackerjack can do it next year. But, their dreams we have of Australian horses winning it. But statistically, you look at the field this year, you look at the field every year, they're all, 90% are European. So I think the first tick, they have to like quick ground. Yesterday was a good 3 at Flemington. it was, you know, nice, quick ground. Not a lot of Europeans like that. But a lot of that. And I just think, you know, a good solid horse that can withstand those good races in, depends if you're bringing them down for the race, but in Europe, they don't race them a lot. The spring here is quite intense, isn't it? You know, you start with those Melbourne Cup trials, and it's quite a packed 3 or 4 months. The carnival's only short, but you've got to turn up every 2 or 3 weeks on a good 3, run a big race, and then on to the next one. So you need a tough horse, and yeah, like I think if you're getting a European, you need that quick ground horse. But after that, the rest is luck, and yeah, I'm like you, I'm still looking for mine.
All right, Arch, we'll finish off with there's dreams and there's reality. The reality is with Annie, your wife, you're a rounded person that's probably plays a bigger part in the operations than a lot of people are aware of. Obviously, young child now as well, but Annie, track rider, you name it, admin skills, everything. She's certainly, as I said, a huge part of your operation.
Yeah, for sure. Couldn't do it without her. There's, you know, so many things. I think as a horse trainer, if I can only worry about 60% of the business, and then I can put all my time into 60%, it's way better than chasing my tail, running around, worrying about 100% of the business. And if I've got Annie that she can take care of 40%, I can hopefully do a better job on my 60% and all that, which is the horses and the owners. Things like, you know, admin, wages, billing, sales, you know, as in when we buy the yearlings, when we syndicate them, and, you know, you have Joe Blogs ringing up for his 5% of the yearling, and where does he send the money to, or how much is such and such. You know, I don't really want to be bothered with that during the day. I've got enough I forget in the day. You know, it's hard enough keeping track of what's going on. I don't want to be bothered by you know, people saying I'll pay next week because I can't pay this week. I don't need that in my life. But if we've got Claire in the office who does a great job, and Annie's doing that, and apart from that, Annie's a very, very good horsewoman. She's used to ride in races in Ireland and England and over the jumps, and she can, you know, she rides Young Rascal. She used to ride Lord Fandango. She rides a fair few of the ATB horses. She rides Write Your Name quite a bit, and it's good just to have another sort of set of eyes on the track. You know, she might someone say, oh, you know, I thought the hill track was a little bit firm today, you know, and along with the other riders, you know, they might all say, you know, maybe it needs more work or less work on the surface, or thought Write Your Name was a bit short in his action, and maybe we'll get the chiropractor to have a look at him. And she's always thinking of different ideas, and you know, we're at the moment we're building a trotting ring for the babies to warm up in, because it's a bit more, you know, peaceful for them. So we're spending a bit of money, time and effort to improve the facilities, and that's kind of been a bit of an Annie project there, and she's been always working out, you know, what's best for the business, and then also what we can spend or what we can't spend, because you know, if it was up to me, I think we'd be broke already, and we'd probably have 75 trucks, and we'd have treadmills and walkers, but we would be bankrupt. So that would be no good. And Annie's the handbrake that I always say to the staff, don't ask me, ask the bank of Annie. And if Annie lets you buy that new lawnmower or the new saddle or the new fridge for the tack room, then that's fine. But no, you need someone like that, and she knows all the owners, and it's good at the races. Sometimes as a trainer, we go to the races and you're stressed because you're just trying to get your horses in the right shape. You know, you don't want anything to go wrong. And if owners are there, Annie gets on well with everyone, and you know, she can have a chat to you guys, and you know, it just gives me a little bit of peace sometimes on those bigger days to focus on the horses, which is what we are. We're a horse trainer. We're nothing more. And that's what we're here to do. And yeah, just if you have someone behind the scenes that can help you, and she's good. She tells me where I've gone wrong. She doesn't tell me when I've gone right. She just gives me grief when we've beaten and tell me what to do next time. So yeah, you never come back home big-headed. Even if you come back with a Flemington winner, you're you know, I was told, why didn't Game win?
Well, Archie, it's a pleasure to have you on today. You and Andy are a credit to, you know, yourselves and the business. We find you very professional. Your place is immaculate. It's amazing for people that haven't been there for probably nearly a year now. They're going to get a big shock when they go past that stable complex. It's a real showpiece. It's developed beautifully. Your horses are a credit. They're always looking well. They're always shining. They always run well. I think you're a real credit to yourself. You pick up the phone, and I'm sure your phone rings, and sometimes you think, oh, who's this and what do they want? But you know, you pick up the phone, you talk to us when we need to talk to, and it's a pleasure to do business. It's a pleasure to have horses in the yard, and I wish you all the best for the spring. And I'm sure you're going to have a good one, and hopefully we can be a small part of it. But once again, thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Darren, and thanks, Pete, and thanks to all your owners for you know turning up every year and sending us nice horses. It's you know, without the Crackerjack Princes and the Write Your Names and the Connerys and the Games, you know, we can't be winning races. So you know, we just need those good horses to come in, and if we get a few Dandinos and you know, some of the stars you've had before, a few like them, they'll be nice over the years.
Excellent.
All the best.
Thanks, Arch.
Thanks, bud.